Hi everyone, we're about to go live with Reggie Jackson of the LA Clippers, the NBA star. So Reggie Jackson is going to be joining us shortly, and I'm just texting him right now to let him know that we are live and we are waiting for him. So Reggie, whenever you're here, let me know and we will bring you live. So here's why this conversation is so important right now. So Reggie is a remarkable player. When he was 25 years old, he signed an $80 million contract for 5 years to play for the Detroit Pistons. Okay, and Reggie confirmed that he is live right now. Here you are, Reggie. I see you. Okay. Reggie's coming on.
Hey, how you doing?
And here we go. Hey, Reggie, how are you?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Amazing, amazing. So there's so many amazing things to ask you about, Reggie. And I know it must be tough as an athlete right now going through quarantine. How are you holding up?
It's been extremely difficult, especially being mid-season for myself, from Detroit, coming to Los Angeles Clippers, a team who has a chance, contending team to win a championship.
And are you in LA or Detroit right now?
Find my groove, and then everything shut down has been kind of tough, but just trying to stay steady, stay ready as possible, keep my mind fresh, continue to work on myself, my growth, keep my body right, and then whenever we all get back to some normalcy, just be ready for
Right.
the start again.
And are you? I lost you for a second there, but are you in Los Angeles or Detroit right now?
I'm in Los Angeles right now.
Awesome, awesome. That's cool. How are you enjoying LA?
I'm enjoying it. Definitely miss my house in Detroit at a time like this. Well, I definitely had a lot more set up, but getting things under control now, enjoying this weather, enjoying the area, and just enjoying my downtime. So then enjoying time with my brother and just trying to make the most of this.
That's awesome. That's awesome. See, I know the weather in Detroit because I spent 4 years studying at Ann Arbor in Michigan.
Oh, okay.
So I was just 45 minutes south of Detroit. I spent 4 years there. Some of the craziest winters I can ever remember, like minus 40 degrees with wind chill. That was like a common thing.
Yeah, I didn't get above zero my first 2 weeks I got traded to Detroit. So yeah, it gets pretty cold and pretty brutal, but I enjoyed it being a homebody.
And now you just celebrated your birthday 2 weeks ago, right?
Yes.
Okay, and you turned 30 years old.
Yeah, been fortunate enough to see the big 3-0.
Oh, awesome. So here's my question for you, and everyone watching. There are about 328 people watching right now. Question for you. When you were 25, so 5 years ago in 2015, you signed an $80 million contract for 5 years to play with the Detroit Pistons. That is freaking amazing for a 25-year-old. I want you to just describe how did you feel? What was going through your head? Did you see yourself as a kid, as a teenager, getting to where you got?
I believe I've always envisioned myself playing basketball. It was something I saw as a young kid. My family played. And then when I saw the NBA, I just knew it was something I wanted to do. I didn't know the livelihood or being able to take care of your family was a benefit of everything. So I'm very blessed and thankful for that. But I just always knew I wanted to play basketball. So I think I did a great amount of daydreaming and time spending really putting myself in the shoes of being in the NBA and just trying to experience every feeling of it, make sure every game that I played, whether it was on the backcourt or outside, inside, just try to experience. Always try to envision those before me and just did my best to try to mentally make up the idea of getting to the NBA. And then everything else kind of just followed. I continued to work very hard, but once I kind of seen it in my mind and it was very tangible and I could feel it, it was a journey that became easier to go down.
So my question to you is this, right? I want you to tell us about your inner game, because one of the things I appreciate about you is you're an advocate of meditation. I think you'd reached out to me to say you practice the 6 phase. You're an advocate of meditation. I know you probably do mental rehearsal. What was that inner game like for you when you were trying to make it to the NBA? What was that inner game like for you as a young man growing up, dreaming of playing basketball?
I think the inner game really was just getting attached with the emotion. Really watching film tape from what my dad had, enjoying. I think the last dance documentaries everybody's probably seeing, a lot of people right now. So around that era, my dad was very into basketball, into those teams. So I got to watch those highlights a lot. Got to watch replays. Trying to envision myself being always being outside, being Jordan or being Ron Harper or Scottie Pippens. Just making up fun games. So it was just a passion. I knew basketball was a passion, and as a kid, I think the best thing about being a kid is your imagination.
Right.
So I allowed mine to run wild and play so many games in my head that, like I said, I felt like I experienced it. I had already been here, and then now I think when you get older, things get a little blurrier. So you have to continue to practice meditation and practice being able to tap into your imagination, your inner self, to kind of live out these moments so that it makes it easier to attain. But as a kid, it was just very easy. Like I couldn't do anything else but honestly think about basketball. I had my brother who did a great job of influencing me with staying in school, with reading. Really, he's always worked with my mind. So I've been very blessed to have somebody, my older brother Travis, do those for me.
Right.
But I've been trying to get back to that kid self to just make sure when I'm not being present, and the times that I do spend on reflecting, or the times that I do spend on envisioning my future, I really delve into them and just be very childlike again. So the 6 phases have
I
very much
love
helped, and it's just helped me kind of refine my passion, because I've experienced some injuries from that 5-year time after I had signed that contract, and it was a little tough. But the more I kept practicing my mind, I missed 2 seasons where it was like half a season. So during
Right.
that time is really where I kind of sat down and worked on myself, and refound my passion by just living out the game in my mind, even though I couldn't play on the court, and
Oh.
found my love.
Now, I want to touch on 2 things there. Your injuries, right? And I want to understand your mental framework and how you got through that. So we're going to come to that in a moment, but let's talk about that inner game. Now, this is why it's so interesting to me. There is a study. So all of you listening, I think you're going to really, really, really find this fascinating. There's a study by an Australian psychologist called Alan Richardson on visualization in the game of basketball. Reggie, have you ever heard of this study by Alan Richardson?
No.
Okay, so let me tell you what he did, right? So he took 3 groups of people, and group A, they had to practice on a court for 20 minutes a day. So these were not like basketball stars like you. They were just ordinary people. Group A, they had to practice on the court for 20 minutes a day. Group B, they just had no practice. They were the control group. And group C, they had to sit down, meditate, and visualize themselves shooting hoops for 20 minutes a day. Right? They had to bring in feeling, bring in visualization, see themselves shooting hoops. Now, let me ask you guys there, how much improvement? So then they took all 3 groups to an actual court to see what was their improvement in free throws. Okay. Now, obviously, group B, no improvement because they had no practice. But let me ask you this, and Reggie, I'd love for you to play along. How much of an improvement would you think group A saw in their free throw ability?
I think they'd make a jump. Like, of course, they would get better by putting in time and experience.
Yeah, so they saw a 25% improvement, right? Now, they were actually on the court practicing for 20 minutes every day. They saw a 25% improvement in their free throw ability. Now, those of you watching, let's go to Group C. Group C was the one who did nothing but mental rehearsal. They saw themselves shooting hoops in their mind. How much would you guess Group C improved?
Probably 25% as well.
Well, you're very, very, very correct. It was 24%, right? So it was within the statistical margin of error, 24%, and this leads to a really interesting thing. I don't know if Alan Richardson did a follow-up study, but what was fascinating is that the people rehearsing in their mind improved just as much as the people in the court. And it's just fascinating when you think about it. Now, Reggie, I'd love to nobody could really answer why. Nobody really knows why this works, but I'd love to just ask you, why would you think something like this is true?
Because I think the mind obviously creates Like it just creates everything. So the more we create in our mind, then the easier our reality outside is to shape. So, and I kind of know it from experience because in the NBA it's very fast paced, 82 games in a matter of like 5 months. So like, sometimes you have 4 games in a week, maybe 5,
Right.
and you're playing like 2 games in 2 days. You're flying across the world, and it's very difficult. So there's times as I've matured in the league and got older, I find myself I'll tell my coaches I don't really need the shooting time. Like I'll come shoot maybe 10 free throws just to feel the ball.
Right.
And that 2 hours I usually spend preparing, by the time I get to the arena before, I'll honestly, I already do a lot of mental preparation, but I'll do even more, especially on like the second night of back-to-back because I know that I need to save my body and just continue to run the game through my head, and you kind of find yourself.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Reggie, sorry, we lost you for a second. Just a connection issue. We can see you, Reggie, but we can't hear you right now. Can you guys hear Reggie? Not sure what happened to the sound. Hey, Reggie, we lost audio for a second. Reggie, let's try doing this. Disconnect and then join again. I think we lost your audio, but it's no worries. Just disconnect and then. Okay.
Hi, Heidi. I see Heidi De La Rosa here. Okay, Reggie's going to be coming back. So why I wanted to bring Reggie on is because it's just so fascinating to learn about the inner game that he plays. This guy has just accomplished so much at such a young age. And he just signed for the LA Clippers. But Reggie, like many of you guys, he does the six-phase meditation. Okay, Reggie is back. And Reggie's going to be joining us.
Hello?
Hi, Reggie. Awesome. We can hear you.
Good, good.
So we lost you for just 2 minutes. It's not a problem. But I wanted to ask you, the inner game. That's what I'm fascinated by. And I think so many of us listening, we want to understand that because this applies to us, whether we are a lawyer or a doctor or, we have a game in life that we are playing, that we are trying to win at, that we're trying to do better at. What is that inner game for you? What are you rehearsing in your mind? What are your thoughts in the morning? What are your thoughts before you go to bed? That's what I'd like to understand.
Honestly, it was your kind of just using your 6 phase of meditation, allowing me to, that was a few years back, continue to practice on that. Really being compassionate, getting out of myself, practicing my gratitude, practicing my visioning. I'm doing my name them in order, but the more I kind of got away from myself and realized we're all kind of like this energy and we're all part of each other in the world, you start realizing it's bigger than yourself. Like it's a blessing to feel like you're everywhere, but also be in one spot, and we're all one, but we're all ourselves. So that was a big blessing for myself, and more so when I wake up every day. Now, the first things that are like very pivotal to me is um, my spirit and how I feel, my religion. Um, I'm a Christian, so I really spend some times just with a nice scripture, something
Mm-hmm.
inspirational, a word. And then really the first like 15 minutes that I realized your program was I remember the binaural beats and talking to you was I really just took in meditating. I was trying to
Right.
just take in the day, and I just taking in the sunlight, feeling myself really from relaxing from top to bottom, and just taking in myself, like what are my thoughts, not letting my day be controlled by my outer environment, but really the more I kind of delve in myself and I practice meditating in the morning, my my day's kind of
Hey
smooth.
Reggie, sorry, there's just a voice issue. Do you think you could just hold maybe you could have your hand around the mic on the phone?
Hello? Is it better?
Yeah, much better. Much better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. So the more that can you hear still well?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. No, I was just saying the more that I practice something being inspired in the morning and really just taking in the day and listening to myself each and every morning. I planned my night before. I tried to plan like certain things, but the more I take in myself, my day kind of just seems to flow by itself. And for me, I do like check-ins every about 2-3 hours. Just continue to check on myself, see where my mental, physical, and spirit's at, and then I feel like the more I'm in tune with myself, the easier it is to really control my happiness and the things that I'm seeking, rather than allowing my day to be controlled by itself. I'm sorry, I keep hearing the comment.
Yeah, we just got your voice. I don't know why, but it got really muted for a while. Are you using a smartphone?
Yeah, I have a different. I'm gonna try to use a different phone. I'll sign back in.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We could try a different phone.
Hold on. Hold on 1 second. Let's see if this works. I'm just taking the cover
Yeah.
off. Can you hear better?
Yeah, it sounds better.
All right. I took my phone cover off, so hopefully this helps.
Is that an iPhone that you're using?
I was on my iPhone. That's when it disconnected me, so I went to my Samsung. But let me try to go back to my iPhone real quick.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, we lost you again. Yeah. Okay, Reggie had to, I think Reggie
Change phones in between. So not an issue. He's going to reconnect in a moment. So what will be your questions on mental rehearsal, on creative visualization, on imagery therapy? Here we go. There's Reggie. He's back.
Awesome, Reggie, you're back.
Sorry, is this phone better?
Much better, much better. Is this a different phone?
Yes.
Awesome. Great. Great. So we were talking about, your thoughts, because this is such an important topic. I'm going to ask you, I'm going to ask you this list of rapid fire questions. What do you think about when you're lying in bed at night before you go to bed, before you fall asleep? What are your final thoughts at night?
Yeah, my final thoughts at night. Honestly, I practice my gratitude. I think about
Okay.
5 things that I try to just focus on 5 things that I'm grateful for throughout the day. And then those main things I'm grateful for each and every day, such as my family, and just the ability to see another day. But I always try to come up with 5 new ones.
I love that. I love that. And that's such an important practice. Sri Kumar Rao, who's one of our teachers here at Mind Valley, he says it's one of the most important practices you can have, expressing gratitude before going to bed. Now let's talk about the morning. You now wake up in the morning, and what do you do? What's that practice like? You mentioned 6 phase, you mentioned prayer. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, for me, how it looks when I wake up, try not to set my alarm clock. I wake up to whether it's soothing music, whether I have rain beats on, like instrumentals, or just jazz. I try to wake up like that. Have nice water, taking the day. Like I said, try to be inspired by something, whether it's God's word immediately or an inspirational quote. And then from there, I kind of, I've already lied in bed, like I've sat up a little bit, but then I'll go through my stretching, and I have like a balcony, so I'll really kind of open the door and just take in the
Right.
sound of nature while I'm stretching, make sure I'm focused on my breath. And then I go into my meditation. After all that, I feel like that's like 15, 20 minutes. And then I kind of take in myself, of trying to listen to myself, listen to my thoughts. And the more I can do that and kind of settle myself, the easier my day kind of runs smoothly and kind of carries it through. And the days that I miss that, it's kind of a hard search to try to find.
Right.
It's kind of like, it is like sports. It's like, if I don't do the things I need to pregame, it's hard to find my rhythm. But if I just take care of the things beforehand, the game kind of runs itself, the game of life.
Right. That's so fascinating. Now, how did you discover the 6 phase?
The six phase meditation.
Yeah.
So when I first got traded to Detroit, we had a trainer named Arnie Kander, who's kind of a legend for the organization, and he stepped away for a few years. Just kind of went to another team and retired, and then he came back right before my 4th year. So I was talking to him kind of throughout. My first year kind of got me back on the meditation. I did a little bit in college, and when he got away, I was doing it for like a year without Arnie Kander and just kind of getting away from it more. And I experienced those injuries while he was gone. So luckily, my agency did a great job, and the team organization, they all kind of reached back out to him, got in contact, and he's working with the team again and just spending time with them. I was at a point, like, I knew I couldn't work physically, like when I kept being hurt, but I wanted to get better. And he kept asking me like mental things, like challenge my mental, like how am I getting better? What are the little things I do? And the more that he kept asking me, and the more I kept kind of just challenging myself and thinking about it, he really had the binaural beats when it was big, and he got me into it years before. So I just kept practicing, and
that's amazing.
And kept going down the rabbit hole and going further and further, and it's just been working.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I'm so happy to hear that. I'm curious, when you do phase 4 in the 6th phase where you're visualizing your future, what are some of the things that you visualize?
One thing is actually kind of happened is when I started, it's funny, is I envisioned playing with one of my best friends in the NBA, which is Paul George. Didn't know how it was going to happen, didn't know what jerseys were going to wear, but now we're playing together here for the Clippers. So
amazing. That's crazy.
Credit to the meditation.
Right.
At the time that I did it, I just envisioned being healthy. Like my body wasn't healthy. Mentally, I had started to suffer because I kind of had this sickness I was dealing with, and I just envisioned someone helping me. I would each and every day. My future was like that was one of the biggest things I had, was like someone's gonna come and help me figure out what's going on with my body. So I feel like I take a lot of pride in like trying to eat right, trying to sleep, trying to do the right things, but I couldn't seem to recover, and my body was failing. It felt like it was failing me. So we had got a new regime after I kind of front office, after I started practicing, and actually the wife is a very prominent wife of one of our front office execs. She just came to me randomly. She's like, "You sweat. Your sweat looks different." I'm like, didn't take it like big, didn't know what it meant, and just kind of stuck with me. And she kept being persistent. Like every day I'd see her, she's like, something just looks off. And I was like, the more I keep envisioning like getting healthy, there's this person that keeps pushing me to get better. And it took her like a year. And I finally went and seen the doctor, like the right doctor who helped me solve this problem in Denver. Like I said, I was like, I'm just trying to manifest little things, like asking for little blessings. And I don't know how they come, but it just seems to happen. Like I just continue to have the faith. I continue to practice the meditation.
Wow.
Continue to try to be positive. And like I said, it's kind of like you have it in your mind, kind of how things are going to go. And it just even as a kid, like my vision, I envision having one of my best friends being in the NBA. And I'm a military kid and I moved a lot. So it's kind of hard to have friends and keep having them,
right,
seeing them. So I was like, I always envisioned I had one of my best friends being in the NBA. And years later, when I first got in the NBA, like me and Paul George,
that's amazing,
really, really close. Somehow we just kept being close and getting closer and closer. And then I'm always happy for his success, but I was like, I saw this as a kid. I remember I told him one time, I was like, I saw you were in my life before we actually met. Like I envisioned it, and I feel like the process, our lives are kind of destined as long as we just keep.
And who was that best friend, that player at the LA Clippers? Who was that?
Oh, right now it's Paul George.
Amazing. So I want to ask you another question, because you touched on this right now. Now you said God is important to you. You mentioned that you see yourself getting daily blessings, and phase 6 of the 6th phase is actually called the blessing. And I think a lot of people do that in different ways. I actually inserted that as phase 6 because I recognize that billions of people around the world have a religious belief. They believe in Jesus, or they believe in their cultural religion. And I wanted to show that the 6th phase isn't different from that. In phase 6, you ask for that blessing. If you're open, I'd love to ask you, what do you do in that final phase? How do you close the meditation and bring in your beliefs?
I don't see it as being different. Like that was the weird thing is like prayer and meditation are like so hand in hand to me. And the
Right.
more I try to delve in myself and figure out, I'm like, that was the beautiful thing about starting your Mind Valley kind of program and search was as I kept trying to ask myself for these questions about prayer and more about religion, it's a sense of self. Because I'm like, even with like if the Holy Spirit's inside of you, like you have to be getting creation from somewhere, from God. So it's just you have to keep searching. Like you have to search for the all
Right.
the information's right there. It feels like I have to search for the word, but I also have to search for myself, and I have to keep the connection very much there and realistic. And the more that I can connect to the energy of the world or to my God, for me, the
Right.
easier it is to actually manifest these blessings. And
I love that you shared that, Reggie. I love that you shared that. I think so many people are afraid to speak about that right now, that we are connected to a higher power, that we have a guidance or a guide. Right now, this week in Mind Valley, I'm relaunching the Silva method. And the Silva method was created by Jose Silva. He was a Texan man of Mexican origin who pioneered this mind science system. And Jose Silva's work through the Silva method influenced me. It was used by lots of sports players as well back in the day in the 70s and 80s. And a lot of Jose Silva's ideas have been incorporated into Mind Valley. And so we're launching the new Silva method. Jose died in 1999, and I'm bringing that work out. And he said the same thing. He said that, I mean, he was a religious man, and he believed that there is a higher power that is always supporting us. He called it your higher self or your higher intelligence, and that you can ask things of this power. You can unify with this power. And when you ask for support from this power, you're more likely to manifest that which you're visualizing. And I think a lot of people forget that.
no, I agree. Yeah, we're like I said, I think it's the beauty. Like it's easy for me to be more content where I'm at now. I used to feel like I searched for so many answers. Not mean I'm not searching and I'm not trying to figure out how
Right.
to get better. Like I think I used to ask the wrong questions, and the more I've gotten to understand, like I said, practicing compassion, knowing that we're all one,
Right.
we're all different, but we're all the same. And the more I understood that and realized we all have like we all come from, like I said, the same place. We all got higher being. We all have a purpose here. Is it makes it easier. Like there's all I have to do is ask for it, and if I ask for clarity, there's like certain things I take care of each every day, and if I ask with clarity and make the right map, then the answers will be given to me because
Amazing.
it's all here for us to receive. That's the beauty is all our blessings have already been created and they're here for us to receive. It's just finding the right way to ask for them to receive them.
Amazing. Have you done any other Mind Valley programs other than the 6 phase?
I did the 6 phase and I did the when I was telling you about the reading, speed reading.
Speed reading. Awesome. I'm going to send you Silva Ultramind. I'm going to send you Silva Ultramind. I think you'd really like that, and Be Extraordinary. I think you'd really
Okay.
enjoy that as well. I'm going to add that to your account. But I have a final question for you. I read about how you had tendonitis, right? And you had to have PRP injections in your knee. Now that really resonated with me because I have tendonitis. I'm still recovering from it. And I've had PRP injections in my knee as well. So when I read that, I'm like, wow, we've gone through the same thing. I'm curious, how did you rebound from that? What was the mental frame? How did you think about that? Because I know that injury took you out for a while, but how did you put yourself in the right mental attitude so you could heal?
I think just the first time I actually had to have it twice. So I've done it and I was a little younger and just kind of bouncing around, kind of came back. But the second time around, I had it again and it was right, I think like after an ankle injury. So if kind of just learning to sit still,
Mm-hmm.
learning to sit still and understand that everything happens for a reason and stop fighting the process. I think that was a big thing. I kept fighting the process and I was injuring myself more than understanding, all right, my body's trying to tell me I'm hurt. It's sending me signals that something needs to be done. trust that I have a great team to diagnose and figure out, and then just rest. I think that's the hard thing.
Right.
Like, I had to learn to sit still and just know that I'm getting better. And I think that's the hard thing even with meditation is, like, for people to sit still and be like, can I get better just sitting still? That's one of the hardest things it had to learn for me. And I had to change my perception on what meditation was. Like, I worked on a lot. I've had psychological coaches over the years, and it's really helped. But my first perception was I have to be moving to get better. So, like, I have to lift on my leg. I have to do everything to get 100% well. Than others. And, like, the second time was got the shot and figured out, all right, I have deficiency somewhere else. Like, my knee is suffering the problem, but it's not necessarily the problem. It's everything else around it, whether it was like my IT band, people don't understand, like, could be too tight, your calves, ankles on the other side. So when I just sat still, it was funny, when I sat still, I felt more knots, like, and felt more pain elsewhere than where I actually had the shot. So the more I just listened to my body, I came up with the right questions to ask. I feel like my physical therapist. So I'd go up and be like, for some reason my quad doesn't feel right. Like, it's just hurting. Then we'd do more work on that and we'd strengthen. And then I was like, my calves are hurting. So when they walked me through, like, the framework of the body, it was interesting that finally when I sat down, and like I said, I sat down, sat still, and I wrote out my thoughts and, like, how I'm feeling throughout the day. I had many of the answers, or I had many of the right, I was given many of the signals to ask the right questions to give to the right people to actually cure the problem, rather than just thinking it was going to be a quick
Interesting.
solve.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. A lot of people think you heal yourself with your mind, but that's not always the case. What often happens is your mind guides you to the right healers, new therapies, medical professionals. And yes, your mind does have a healing effect on the body, but there's also a compass mechanism. It's intuition, right? And when you have the right intention, you're in the right state, you get guided towards the right healers and the right therapies.
I agree. It all ties together. Like, it's interesting, like, meditating and the speed reading to me was like, when I had to sit back and reflect, I was like, this is very, like, this one simple thing that, like, we learn, we forget. It's like maps. How you're talking, like, mind mapping. And
right. How much has your reading speed gone up after Jim Quick's course?
Oh, it was crazy. I went from like 150 to, I think I doubled it. So
that's amazing.
And
150 to 300 words per minute.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I got to share that with Jim Quick. He's going to really appreciate that.
Yeah, and I enjoyed it. But the best thing wasn't, I feel like when I watched other people, and I think we all have, like, epiphany, it wasn't that the reading is great that it went up. Like, the speed was amazing. It was the ability to comprehend. And like you said,
right.
Like, so I remember when I first got my license, a lot of people, like, I got my license at 16. I lived in Colorado. And my brother was in Florida at the time. And he needed a car. And I remember as soon as we got the license, like, my dad was like, all right, we're going on a road trip. We're taking your brother a car. And he was older. And I was like, oh, crap, like, this is going to suck. But the first thing he showed me was the map of how we were going to get there. And, like, he stayed up mostly through the nights. But I remember one night he kind of fell asleep and we were driving through the South. And, like, going, I think we were, like, in Arkansas. And I felt confident because I had already seen the map. Like, we made markers. Right. So I was already led to my destination rather than, like,
love that
approach to the answers. So I think that was, like, my meditation, how I start my day, how I think about meditation, how I think about the game that I play now is, like, it's all the same game. It's the more I can map it out and the more I can shape it.
Wow.
And, like, the more I can put in my thoughts. Like, yeah, my thoughts is vision. So the more I can make the map, the easier it is to get to my final destination. Like, you might go off detour a little bit, but you can ultimately get to where you want to be.
Reggie, man, okay, that's a beautiful metaphor. If you ever do a TED Talk, okay, that's your TED Talk. This metaphor of the map, that is your TED Talk. That's a powerful idea. I mean, don't you guys think so? Hit love if you love that idea of the map, of starting your day with the map, and leave a comment. That's amazing. So that's extraordinary. And guys, please go follow Reggie on Instagram. He's one of the most positive, inspiring sports stars in the world. Reggie, do you still do the 6 phase every day now?
Yeah, that's what. So I'm not gonna lie. I woke up today and I'm like, we're about to talk about. Tell me what we're gonna talk. And I'm like, what is it exactly? And I seen the 6 phase meditation. I'm like, I don't know where the. I'm like, have I practiced 6 phase meditation? Like intuition, I had confidence. I told my brother, and I actually
Right.
wrote it down in my notes today. I'm like, funny before I did this, I'm like, I'm panicking about this. Like, I'm anxious about doing this talk with Vishen. But deep down inside, like my intuition, I'm calm. Like I know I should be calm because I've done it, but
Yeah.
I can't find. Like I was trying to find it, and then once my brother found it, I started laughing because I was like, I did. This is something I did like 4 years ago. Now I do every day, but I had forgot it was the 6 phases. It was like it just had started becoming so regular. It was
Yeah.
breathing.
It became part of your life for 4 years. That's so cool. How are you nervous talking to me? I should be nervous talking to you.
You just don't. I don't know why. I think we all do it. I
But
know I'm wrong.
but hey, no, I'm not going to keep you much longer because I know we had half an hour. But I do want to say this: the world needs more people like you, right? Who are such positive role models and are so optimistic and bright. Because your message can like inspire so many people. And I hope you do a TED Talk someday. And if you do that TED Talk, I'm telling you, because I work with so many speakers. That whole story about the map, there's something in there, right? And I know you just spontaneously came up with it, but there's something in there. If you're ever asked to speak to a group of like high schoolers or to inspire young people, share that story. It's amazing. That inspired me. So anyway, it was great having you on Instagram, Reggie.
No, I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, and we're gonna type this up and write an article about you.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I
Awesome.
love talking in the future.
Awesome. Take care, and thanks for being such an advocate of Mind Valley. I really appreciate that.
Oh no, I appreciate you having me on and everything you're doing. So continue to go, and just appreciate being on with you.
Absolutely. Take care, Reggie.
All right, you too. Everybody have a great one.
Okay.
All right.
Now, for those of you who are watching, so if any of you want to go deeper on this, the 6 phase is completely free. You can Google 6 phase meditation online, or you can go to mindvalley.com/learn-meditation. But the other thing that you may find interesting is that all this week in Mind Valley, we're talking about creative visualization. We're talking about manifesting with the mind. Sign up for my masterclass. It's on the Silva method. Again, it's completely free. And in my masterclass, I'm going to go deep in this whole process. So here's what I'm going to be covering in this masterclass. And you can sign up mindvalley.com/Silva, SILVA /masterclass. Or maybe it's on the main page. Maybe if you just go to mindvalley.com. Let me quickly check this out for you. I believe if you just go to mindvalley.com, scroll down and you will see watch a free Mind Valley masterclass, and then you can see me mastering altered states for problem solving and performance. Click on that, click on reserve your spot, watch it free. It's 90 minutes, but this is what I'm going to be covering. First thing I'm going to be covering is how to get into altered states of mind. Okay, so the trick is, it's not just visualizing, it's visualizing at a particular brainwave frequency called the alpha level. This is when you slow down your brain frequency to roughly between 7 to 14 cycles per second. And there's a trick to get there reliably. You can train your brain to instantly slow down. Okay, so you're going to teach that. It's called a 40-day technique. And then you want to see what is called a mental screen. And I'm going to teach you the mental screen model. It's this imaginary screen in front of you, and that's where you're going to project your dreams. Now, last week I had Bianca Andreescu, who beat Serena Williams and won the US Open. Bianca also is a Mind Valley user, and she mentioned the mental screen. She mentioned how from the age of 16 to 19, she would see this mental screen project her visions, what she wanted in life on this mental screen. So you're going to learn that in the masterclass. And the third thing you're going to learn is something called the 3 scenes technique. And this is an even more advanced technique. And the 3 scenes technique is designed to take you from where you are to where you want to be, and to manifest and create that new reality. It is particularly important for sports stars, for anyone. The Chicago White Sox use this. It comes from the work of Jose Silva, and the Chicago White Sox was using this in the late 70s, early 80s, and they saw their batting average go up. And it's just a remarkable technique. So again, all of that is free. Go to mindvalley.com, scroll down, you'll see my face somewhere there. Reserve your spot in the masterclass. You learn about the Silva method,
and the 90 minutes is completely free. And then if you want to go deeper, you can go deeper and enroll in the full program. So I'll see you guys there. And if any of you are watching, if any of you are doing amazing stuff in the world, using techniques, tools, teachers from Mind Valley, even if you've just improved your reading speed by like double, like what Reggie Jackson just said, go and leave us a story on stories.mindvalley.com. We just hit 6,200 stories from the community, and we just put up this website. So it's crazy to see how you guys are sharing your success stories and inspiring more people to dedicate parts of their day to personal growth. So I can't wait to hear more from you. So anyway, guys, thanks for joining me today. I will see you soon.